History is filled with brilliant minds whose groundbreaking discoveries pushed humanity forward. Still, for some, their achievements were followed by untimely and suspicious deaths. Whether targeted for their revolutionary work, entangled in political intrigue, or victims of tragic accidents that defy easy explanations, these figures leave behind unanswered questions. Were they simply unlucky, or did their discoveries make them a target? This list explores 10 inventors and scientists whose lives ended under mysterious or suspicious circumstances, highlighting their contributions to science and the questions surrounding their deaths. Louis Le Prince, the forgotten father of film. Louis Le Prince was on the verge of revolutionizing the world of entertainment in the late 19th century with his invention of motion picture technology, predating Thomas Edison's work. In 1888, he successfully filmed Roundhay Garden Scene, a short sequence considered the first motion picture in history. By 1890, Le Prince was preparing to showcase his invention publicly in the United States, a move that could have cemented his place as the father of cinema. However, he mysteriously vanished while traveling by train from Dijon to Paris. His body was never found, and no belongings surfaced, leaving his work overshadowed by Edison and other contemporaries. Theories about Le Prince's disappearance have only grown over time. One popular theory implicates Thomas Edison, suggesting he may have orchestrated Le Prince's disappearance to eliminate competition. Edison was known for aggressively patenting and defending his inventions. Le Prince's success could have undermined Edison's dominance in motion picture technology. Another theory centers around internal family tensions, as disputes over inheritance and finances may have led to foul play. A more sinister possibility involves industrial espionage, with claims that Le Prince's groundbreaking invention made him a target for powerful interests, unwilling to let such valuable technology remain in his hands. Rudolf Diesel, vanished on the high seas. Rudolf Diesel, the brilliant inventor of the diesel engine, vanished under mysterious circumstances during a voyage aboard the SS Dresden in 1913. Diesel's invention promised to transform global industries by offering a more efficient alternative to steam power, and its potential military applications for naval vessels threatened to disrupt the power of coal and oil magnates. Diesel was last seen dining with fellow passengers before retiring to his cabin for the night. By morning, he was missing. Several days later, a decomposed body believed to be Diesel's was recovered from the North Sea, though it was never conclusively identified. Theories surrounding Diesel's death range from personal to geopolitical. Some believe powerful oil companies, fearing that Diesel's engine could revolutionize transportation and energy, may have orchestrated his death to protect their interests. Others speculate that rival nations targeted Diesel, given the diesel engine's potential to shift naval power dynamics. There are also suggestions of financial troubles, with some proposing that Diesel staged his own disappearance to escape mounting debts and political pressures. Despite extensive investigations, the true story behind Diesel's disappearance remains unresolved. Alexander Bogdanov, a Russian physician and revolutionary, was an early pioneer in the field of blood transfusion. He believed transfusions could rejuvenate the human body, reverse aging, and extend life. In 1926, he founded the Institute of Blood Transfusion in Moscow and conducted numerous experiments on himself and others. His boldest claims included improved energy, mental clarity, and physical vitality following transfusions. However, in 1928, Bogdanov transfused himself with blood from a student who was unknowingly infected with malaria and tuberculosis. Within days, Bogdanov fell ill and died. While his death was officially attributed to contamination, questions have lingered. Some theorists suggest that Bogdanov, who had fallen out of favor with Lenin's inner circle, was deliberately sabotaged by political rivals who viewed his work as a threat to Soviet ideologies. The student donor's infection raises the possibility that this was no accident, especially given Bogdanov's influence as a scientist and a Bolshevik thinker. Others believe his experiments were seen as dangerous by traditional medical authorities who may have wanted to halt his research. The lack of investigation into the donor's health only deepens the mystery. Karen Wetterhahn, a leading chemist and toxicologist, contributed significantly to understanding how heavy metals affect human health. In 1996, she was working with dimethyl mercury, a substance she knew to be highly toxic. During an experiment, a few drops of the chemical accidentally spilled onto her gloved hand, Despite following strict safety protocols, the dimethyl mercury seeped through the latex gloves and into her skin. Months later, Wetterhahn began experiencing neurological symptoms, including slurred speech and difficulty walking. She slipped into a coma and died within a year. While her death was officially ruled an accident, some have questioned whether it was entirely coincidental. Wetterhahn's research had the potential to lead to stricter regulations on mercury use, which could have had significant economic consequences for industries reliant on the metal. Others theorize that her death may have been the result of sabotage, with claims that her laboratory could have been tampered with to ensure fatal exposure. The timeline of her symptoms and the ability of the mercury to supposedly penetrate secure gloves remain contentious points, fueling ongoing speculation about the true circumstances of her death. Thomas Midgley Jr., an American inventor, is credited with two of the 20th century's most controversial innovations, leaded gasoline and chlorofluorocarbons, or CFCs. While these inventions were initially celebrated for their practicality, their long-term environmental and health consequences became catastrophic. Midgley contracted polio in his later years, leaving him paralyzed. To assist himself, he designed a system of pulleys and ropes to lift himself from the bed. In 1944, he was found strangled by this device. His death ruled an accidental entanglement. The peculiar circumstances of his death have led to conspiracy theories, particularly given the growing scrutiny of his inventions at the time. Some theorists argue that Midgley, who was well aware of the dangers of leaded gasoline, may have been silenced by corporate interests fearing exposure of their products' harmful effects. Others suggest his death may have been a staged accident to avoid public backlash against his legacy as concerns about environmental pollution and lead poisoning intensified. By the way, if there's any topic in this video that catches your eye, just comment down below and let me know if you want me to make a separate video on it. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Eugene Mallove, a distinguished scientist and author, was one of the most vocal proponents of cold fusion, a controversial energy technology purported to produce limitless, clean energy by replicating the sun's nuclear reactions at room temperature. In the late 1980s, Mallove became a prominent figure in the cold fusion debate. He claimed initial experiments showing positive results were prematurely dismissed by mainstream scientists due to institutional biases and pressure from powerful energy corporations. He resigned from his position at MIT, alleging that the university manipulated data to discredit cold fusion research. Mallove spent much of his life advocating for its potential, publishing the book Fire from Ice and founding Infinite Energy, a magazine dedicated to alternative energy breakthroughs. In May 2004, Mallove was beaten to death outside his childhood home in Norwich, Connecticut. Police initially attributed his murder to a dispute with tenants over unpaid rent. However, the timing of his death, just as he was gaining momentum in his efforts to revive interest in cold fusion, raised eyebrows. Conspiracy theories suggest his killing was orchestrated to suppress his advocacy. Mallove had openly accused energy companies and government agencies of deliberately sabotaging cold fusion research to protect the fossil fuel industry's profits. His relentless push for alternative energy and his polarizing reputation made him a target for both admiration and hostility. The brutality of his murder, combined with his controversial work, has led many to suspect that his death was far from random. Gilbert N. Lewis, one of the 20th century's most influential chemists, revolutionized the field with his concept of the covalent bond and his development of the Lewis dot structure, which remains a cornerstone of chemical education today. Despite being nominated for the Nobel Prize in Chemistry an astonishing 41 times, Lewis never won. His rivalry with Irving Langmuir, who did win the prize in 1932, was well known. Langmuir's work built heavily on Lewis's theories, sparking accusations of favoritism and politics within the Nobel Committee. On March 23, 1946, Lewis was found dead in his laboratory at the University of California, Berkeley. He was slumped over a workbench near a tank of liquid hydrogen cyanide, a substance he often used in his experiments. While the official cause of death was ruled an accident, many of Lewis's colleagues were skeptical. Some theorized his death was staged to appear as a suicide, either to tarnish his reputation or to suppress future work that could disrupt the status quo of chemistry. Lewis had been outspoken about his frustrations with the scientific establishment, including the Nobel Committee, leading to speculation that he may have been silenced. Others pointed to his troubled personal life and mounting professional frustrations as potential motives for suicide. However, no definitive evidence supports this claim. The presence of cyanide, a volatile and dangerous substance, and the lack of thorough investigation have kept his death shrouded in mystery. In January 1985, Boris Weisfeiler, a Soviet-born American mathematician renowned for his work in algebra and group theory, disappeared while hiking alone in southern Chile near Colonia Dignidad, a secretive German enclave notorious for its ties to the Pinochet regime. Weisfeiler was an experienced outdoorsman and had visited Chile on several occasions, drawn by its remote landscapes. However, this trip turned dark when he vanished without a trace. Declassified US documents from the CIA later suggested that Chilean authorities detained Weisfeiler, possibly mistaking him for a foreign spy. Witness reports and leaked government memos imply that he was interrogated, tortured, and ultimately executed. However, no body has ever been found. Conspiracy theories surrounding Weisfeiler's disappearance go beyond mistaken identity. His groundbreaking mathematical work had potential military applications, such as cryptography and code breaking, which may have drawn the attention of intelligence agencies. Another theory posits that he inadvertently stumbled upon illicit activities at Colonia Dignidad, which was known to house political prisoners, conduct human rights abuses, and engage in arms trafficking. The enclave's founder, Paul Schaefer, maintained strong connections to the Pinochet regime, creating a heavily fortified and secretive environment. Weisfeiler's disappearance remains an enduring mystery, with the Chilean government offering little clarity and the Colonia Dignidad records shrouded in secrecy. Georg Wilhelm Richmann, a Russian physicist and pioneer in the study of electricity, sought to quantify and harness the forces of nature during a time when such endeavors were often regarded with suspicion. In 1753, he attempted to measure atmospheric electricity during a thunderstorm in St. Petersburg using a rod connected to insulated devices. As he conducted the experiment indoors, a ball of lightning struck him in the head, killing him instantly. Witnesses described a blinding flash of light and a deafening crack that shattered the apparatus and scorched nearby objects, leaving Richmann as one of the earliest recorded victims of an electrical experiment gone wrong. While his death is officially considered a tragic accident, alternative theories have emerged. At the time, the church wielded significant influence, and some religious authorities viewed experiments with lightning as blasphemous, believing lightning was a manifestation of divine wrath. Richmann's work, which attempted to demystify natural phenomena, may have been seen as a threat to established religious doctrines. Others speculate that his death could have been intentionally staged, either as a warning to other scientists or as part of a broader effort to deter exploration of electricity, which had the potential to upend societal norms. Royal Rife, an American inventor and researcher, claimed to have developed groundbreaking medical technology in the early 20th century. His most notable invention, the Rife machine, was said to use specific electromagnetic frequencies to destroy harmful pathogens, including cancer cells, without damaging healthy tissue. In the 1930s, Rife claimed his treatments had successfully cured patients of terminal illnesses during experimental trials. However, his work was never widely accepted by the medical community. Rife's research faced increasing hostility from established medical authorities, including the American Medical Association, AMA. He alleged that the AMA, pharmaceutical companies, and other influential groups conspired to discredit him, fearing his device would threaten the profit-driven medical industry. Rife's laboratory was mysteriously vandalized, destroying vital equipment and research notes. After he died in 1971, reportedly from alcoholism-related complications, conspiracy theories arose that his revolutionary cancer treatments were suppressed to protect the pharmaceutical industry's interests, ensuring that his once promising research remains shrouded in mystery. Wow, you guys have made it till the end of the video. And remember, according to YouTube, the best way to help the channel in the algorithm is to watch another one of my videos right after this one. So go ahead and check it out. Thanks for sticking around. See you soon. Until then, peace.